And so fear begins with apprehensiveness, a little bit of being scared, but then it turns into respect, reverence, and then honor. Kind of like a child. Your child needs to, first of all, understand the principle of authority. So many times you have to spank the little child. And so the child starts obtaining respect towards you in terms of, yeah, apprehensiveness, being scared, understanding that if he messes up, if he does this, there's going to be consequences and they're not pretty. They're going to hurt. And so the child does have to be a little bit scared of you in that sense. But then you build upon it with love, love, love. Then a little bit of punishment here again, that hurts, and then build on it to love, love, love. Teaching, 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 principles, principles, and then another, a little bit of spanking here and there. And so that's the same thing with us. We begin with apprehensiveness, then that fear becomes respect, all the way to having love for him. This is the Corinthians. And then what else do we have? So as fear, and then as ala plus epipothesin, as longing. It is the ardent desire to know God, to advance in the plan of God all the way to super grace. It is to want to advance in the plan of God for the right reasons, and that is to know him. And this ardent desire then takes action, also known as zeal, the ardent pursuit. Ardent pursuit to advance in the plan of God. And so this is zeal used in the right way. Zeal based on Bible doctrine. Here we have it, diligence of application of Bible doctrine. This godly sorrow has produced diligence of application, and one of its facets is zeal. Zeal for the plan of God, not for the wrong things. Should I go over the principles of zeal once again? Yes, I will. I shall. I will. Point 1. Zeal, passion. Yeah, zeal is also passion. Zeal, passion in itself is not virtuous. In itself is not virtuous. It depends what principle it's based on. Point 2. Zeal, passion per se is emotion. So in itself, zeal and passion is emotion. Point 3. Zeal, passion must be based on a principle, on thought, on doctrine. Point 4. Zeal, passion minus doctrine is emotion without any thought content. So, zeal zeal plus ignorance of Bible doctrine is a terrible thing. Zeal without any thought causes a lot of problems, not only in your own life, but in the life of others. Zeal plus ignorance about something, about a current event, political issue. Oh, political issue. I don't think I need to go beyond. All you simply have to do is look at these people that protest, well, in the past, before Donald Trump. All these things about political correctness, which, in my opinion, led to people like Donald Trump and to the ascending to the presidency, making almost like a psychotic issue about political correctness and wokeness and all this type of things. People were having a lot of zeal and passion towards the wrong things, even to the point of limiting your freedom. All this political correctness, all this hypersensitivity led to such populists like Donald Trump. So the people, the liberals on the other side, are very much at fault for the ascendancy of Trump, of these extreme right-wing types. So you see people saying, no justice, no peace, no justice, no peace. No one is free until all people are free. That's the wrong application of the principle. That's zeal plus ignorance. Zeal minus plus the ignorance of doctrine is also demonstrated in Christianity. A lot of Christians, what are they given over to? To some system of immorality? No, you see those in the United Methodist Church, those who make a big deal out of LGBTQ in the churches and preach about that all the time. We're not talking about that. I'm talking about those moral types. They don't care about using 1 John 1:9, learning Bible doctrine. They just make an issue out of morality. They overemphasize it, overemphasize the family, overemphasize heterosexuality. And yes, these things are necessary for society to continue. We do need freedom, and in order for there to be freedom, we need morality. Absolutely. But that is not the spiritual life. The spiritual life consists of you being filled with the Holy Spirit and learning Bible doctrine, forming the 10 problem-solving devices. And so you see those moral types making too much of a big deal out of the laws of divine establishment, putting it in the wrong place, giving in to pro-life, anti-abortion people, Trumpism, MAGA types, who are not conservatives at all. There's no virtue in this type of conservatism. Whenever you see a person who insults, who uses a bunch of ad hominems against his opponents and just insults, that should be one of the first evidences that that person, that candidate, has no virtue at all. And this man, Trump, he constantly is attacking his opponents. That's all he has. He cannot defend his ideas. He has to resort to attacks on people. There's no virtue at all. And if your brand of conservatism has no virtue, then that is not conservatism. All right, so zeal, passion minus doctrine is emotion without any thought content. Point 5, zeal, passion minus doctrine results in fanaticism, the fanatic religious pursuit of the wrong ideas, a waste of time and energy. And so you have such people as the Crusaders, the pro-life people, the iconoclastics, the persecution of Protestants, yes. And in this country, there was also persecution of Catholics. It's understandable. The Catholics persecuted the Protestants so much that many of the Protestants over here did not want the Catholics. And I understand it, but it's not justified. Nazism. So any form of fascism involves a whole lot of zeal. Communism. Many people often put fascism on the right wing and communism on the left wing. They're two sides of the same coin. The only difference between Nazism and communism is that the Nazis were extremely organized, but they're all socialists. Nazism was socialism, but it involved the embracing of nationalism, while communism did not embrace nationalism. Fascism and Nazism did allow you to keep some private property, but so long as all of it was for the purpose of the state. Communism did not allow private property. But they both involve big government, no principle, no virtue, no laws of divine establishment. They're both two sides of the same coin. I don't give a damn if one is right wing, one is left wing. I don't know if you see how fascists can easily become communists can easily become fascists like this. Because there's no principle involved, no laws of divine establishment. Okay. Point 6, for the believer, this results in divine discipline from God all the way to the sin unto death. So you go ahead and keep your zeal. If you don't like the Bible doctrine, go ahead and keep your zeal. Keep your passion. You're going to die the sin unto death. Another one of these examples that I forgot to mention is those anti-Semites. And now anti-Semitism has a nice disguise, a very innocent disguise, not innocent at all, but I'm going to call it innocent. That is pro-Palestine. I'm not a Jew hater, I'm just for the Palestinians. Well, that is a nice way to cover it up, to disguise it. The Palestinians have been helped out for centuries, for decades rather. The Palestinians do not want peace with the Jews, they want them out. And all the Arab countries, they know this. They use the Palestinians to give the Jews a headache. But yes, your zeal and your passion towards anti-Semitism will result in the sin unto death. There's no room here, nowhere in the plan of God, for becoming a Jew hater. Okay, Point 7, zeal, passion, plus doctrine results in correct motivation. So your zeal has to have the correct motivation. The motivation is Bible doctrine. And I'm not talking about motivation in terms of emotion, of being pumped up. I'm talking about motivation in terms of principle, thought, Bible doctrine resident inside of your soul. And then point 8, it results in the advance in the plan of God all the way to super grace. So this zeal plus the correct motivation based on Bible doctrine results in the advance in the plan of God all the way to super grace. Okay, let's do this. So, as fear, as longing, as zeal, and then Allah plus ekdikesin, as this word ekdikesin is often translated avenging, revenging, punishment, vengeance. But what vengeance? Against Paul? Vengeance against the Judaizers? That doesn't seem like the correct application. Vengeance against Satan? No, you can never take vengeance against Satan and the cosmic system. This means vindication. They've vindicated themselves. They've got back in the plan of God with the result that they continue advancing and they have vindicated themselves. I'm not talking about vindication in terms of arriving all the way to super grace, even though they're on their way to that, but vindication in terms of them getting back with the plan of God, resuming their spiritual life, and there's nothing that's going to stop them anymore. Only their stupid personal decisions, but they, in a collective way, they're all inside of the plan of God, on their way to gate 5. If perhaps there are already some people at gate 5, gate 6, on their way to gate 8 in the Corinthian church. Okay, so what do we have this here? Verse 11. For look, pay attention at this thing itself, this principle, the being grieved as God intends, as God would have it, according to the will of God. What great diligence of application it has produced to your benefit. And then we increment, expressing all the facets of it, of this diligence of application, as defense, as indignation, as fear, as longing, as zeal, as vindication. And then we're finally going to be able to finish our verse. We have this last sentence here in verse 11. Do we still have time? Yes, we still have time in this video. And it says here, what do we have? So empathy here is in the beginning of the clause. So what do we have? Sunesteisate. Let's look here. Sunesteisate. This is the aorist active indicative of sunistemi. Sunistemi means to demonstrate, to hold together. Here, yeah, demonstrate, to prove. We've translated it before in terms of commendation. You all have commended yourself. And that can be the right translation, but as long as you understand that it's commendation in terms of proved, you have proved yourself, you have demonstrated yourself to be something. Suneistemi. They have demonstrated themselves to be pure, genuine, and all these things. What does that mean? Let's first of all go on with the aorist tense. The aorist tense is a culminative aorist. So it collects in one entirety them using their sorrow to fulfill the principle of godly sorrow, so that they produced diligence of application in all these areas. It might have taken days. Oh yes, it did take days. It probably took several months. And now, boom, they're back resuming the spiritual life to the point that they've vindicated themselves. And so they've proved themselves to be pure in this thing. So we regard it from the results. They are pure, they are genuine. There's no ulterior motives, there are no false motivations. The zeal is actually real type of zeal based on Bible doctrine. The longing is a real longing based on the desire to know God. The vindication is not one of hatred or trying to get back at someone, but it's a vindication of them being in the plan of God. The defense is one of them being inside the divine power sphere. The indignation is not one of arrogance, but it's one towards introspection, the ones towards the previous mistakes, previous sins, false doctrine. So that is what we're going to approach right now in terms of pure, with regards to agnos, pure. The active voice, the Corinthians produce the action of the verb of approaching sorrow in the correct way. with objectivity, thereby fulfilling the principle of godly sorrow, which in turn led them to recover and resume their spiritual growth. And the indicative mood, this is declarative here, giving you from the viewpoint of reality, the reality of their spiritual advance. It was a great recovery, to the point that Paul says, look at this thing itself, the being grieved as God intends. Okay, so y'all have proved, and then we have the accusative direct object of the reflexive pronoun, heautus. Y'all have proved yourselves. Yourselves. That's how we're going to translate it. And then this is the accusative. And then we have another accusative here of pure, agnus. Okay, what do we do with two accusatives together? This one does not modify this one. This one is reflexive, yourselves. And then we have pure here as an adjective. It's more like an adjectival noun. But what comes along after this is einai, which is the present active infinitive of Amy. And does this look familiar by now? Are you able to detect these things? There's an accusative, another accusative, and an infinitive. We're about to form a predicate accusative. We've seen the predicate nominative. There's a subject nominative, and the copulative verb, Amy, and then the predicate nominative, another nominative. It's kind of like an equal sign. Here we do have the same thing, but they are accusatives with an infinitive. This is the way to form the predicate accusative. So you all have proved yourselves einai, to be. This is the progressive present. They are being pure in this area. They keep on being so progressive. This also forms a stative. Now they've made the correct decisions with the result that they stand pure in this matter, the matter of godly sorrow, which has produced diligence of application. The active voice, the Corinthians, produced the action of the verb, and this infinitive is the infinitive of result. It also serves as the copulative verb between autus and agnus. And so you all have proved yourselves to be agnus, pure. And we've seen this word before, agnus. We saw it before in terms of correct motivation, no ulterior motives, to be genuine, to be away from the less pattern, but have the correct application of Bible doctrine. This is pure from the sorrow of the cosmic system, the fact that their sorrow has produced godly sorrow, which resulted in diligence of application. They are pure from the sorrow of the cosmic system. So the sorrow of the cosmic system would have produced a false diligence of application, a false defense, a false indignation, a false fear, a false longing, a false zeal, a false indignation. But they are pure in the sense that they are genuine. Have you met someone who's trying to do the right thing and they just do the right thing just to get back at you? Have you met the woman that felt that she was scorned or she was rejected, and now she finally gets back to doing the right things and starting to work out and starting to primp herself up a little bit, look good, just so the fact that I'm going to show him. Now I'm going to show him that I'm do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do that. That's the wrong motivation. Well, here we have the right motivation. They did not defend themselves and produce all these things to get back at Paul or get back at anyone. They did it because they wanted that sorrow produced a genuine desire to advance in the plan of God, to get to know God. So that's what pure means here. So be careful with you purity types. Pure here means genuine. No ulterior motives, no wrong motivations.